Hey, good morning and welcome to another Monday morning art talk. So today's discussion is I just want to talk about some lessons that I've learned in my life along my journey in art and business. And one of those things is, and it's happened to me, before in the past, is it's very important, I almost feel, not to mix business and friendship together. And this happens, you can see it happen within the school system. And I've even heard just people where they're sent me emails and they're asking just advice on almost like what they should do because they're working on a project together. They've been assigned to work together and they're friends and they get together and they have this agreement, and all of a sudden the friend really isn't pulling his weight and this other person's not doing it, and all the responsibilities left on them. And then it just starts to tear that aspect apart. And then how do you say that to your friend? How do you deal with that? I was in a situation one time where I got involved with a friend in a business relationship, and it just wasn't as honest as it should have been, and it made things just harder at the end when all of a sudden the company got dissolved. That it was a little bit hurtful, in that sense, not knowing what was going on. So in all honesty, just what friendship to me is about is about honesty, is about being open with someone and forthcoming with someone. So it can be a very hard, thing where you get excited about the potential. And, knowing people and getting involved with people in a business project aspect can really pan out and can really benefit and can really work. We saw it with Steve Jobs, with what happened, if you guys are familiar just with his story, where his friends and the people that he started his company with in his garage and eventually just shoved them out. There was just like this miscommunication, this mistrust that went on, and it happens all the time, every day. So I think always the best policy in any situation that you're moving forward with and going forward with is just to be open, so that you know where you stand with that other person. So if anything arises, it doesn't become so hard to sometimes swallow or take in. And the reality is, I think, is to understand that business is business and that you can't really depend on anyone. You need to know that you got to be willing to take this all the way through yourself. If that person comes through and it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And just know that that's really maybe something that I've truly learned through everything, is that's the true importance of this all. So there's situations where it's better in almost to be with to work with someone that you do know, because you think because you understand them, and it can work. Like I'm in a relationship with a friend of mine right now where we develop apps, and just things are dandy and things go great, they go smooth, we're on each other's page, we're very open and honest with each other in what we feel about stuff when we write it. And I think that's why when we're coming up with the ideas, and that's why it works. Where sometimes when you go into an outside source, or an outside source approaches you and says, hey, we're starting this company, we got this great idea, we want you to be involved in it, we want you to be a partner in it, and all that. And it's just like, well, I don't really know these people. And then sometimes you're getting some lingo and dealing with different things, and you're just like, wow, it's just like, really, it can get really tricky. So again, it's always try to be as aware or conscious as you can. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you just get bamboozled and it just comes out from left field and you don't know what's going on, and you ask yourself, why is this happening to you? There's a thing right now that even as I'm working on a contract, because I'm going to be relocating my art school, I'm working on a contract with a landlord, and the landlord's demands, when you talk to them, you think, oh, this guy's my buddy. It's like we're talking to each other. We got connected somehow, in some way where you think it's real. But then you get the contract and you're looking and you're just like, good God, man, are you serious? Wow, this is just like throws you for a huge loop, and you got to go back and forth, and it ties into just negotiating. You never feel like you want to do that with friends, but that's something you're going to be doing too. Is you got to negotiate. You just got to be, again, it's that openness, it's that honesty, it's being forthcoming up front, so everyone knows where you're at, and there's no hidden agenda, because there's nothing worse than having that sort of hidden agenda in there, or this other intention, like the reason why I'm doing this is just to get this from this person, and so getting really that out in the open, and there's just being ethical in many ways. My mom's a real estate agent. And, she had told me, she said, it's unfortunate, but there's very few ethical real estate agents out there. People who are, not to say all, okay, so if you're a real estate agent, don't get upset with me, but there's very few that really are out and looking out for your best interests. I don't know why, because I think every time money gets involved, this is where I think it ties into as well. When all of a sudden you're throwing money into a situation, things can go horribly wrong. A long time ago, I had a friend who I loaned money to, and that's another mistake that I've made in my life. I've done it twice now, where friends, they're your friends, right? Hey, yeah, man, I'll help you out, I'll hook you up, and you loan them money. Well, one guy I did it, and that guy would be, he paid me back when he needed it. I knew he was in desperate times, and he paid me back. Another friend, hey man, really, and this was a friend, and then it starts to get awkward, because now you're in that situation where you're just trying to ask for your money back. But how do I tell my friend that, dude, when you gonna pay me? Without it like, come on, man, what's your problem? You can, it becomes this sort of thing where it's like, all right, hey, I'm just asking and don't want to ruin my friendship. And, my dad had told me, he said a long time ago to me, hey, don't, as much as you'd like to sometimes loan money to friends, don't do it, because that's the surest way to lose friends. And you know what? Yeah, whatever, Dad. And he was right. And I lost that friend in all reality, because it just became awkward. And it was a good sum of money. And then this person that owes me money, I see them going on holidays and vacations with their family. I'm just like, really? It's like, pay your debts, man. If you're going to do this, pay your debts. It's like, don't let that be awkward. Or do you put something in writing with a friend? That's the scary thing too. I might put, yeah, well, you should. So even though it is your friend, have something in writing, because you never want to go to that place. You never want to sue anyone. You never want to take people to court over anything, especially if they're your friends. Again, this happens every day. We see it in people's court, right, with Judge Judy and everything else, and these friends, they're suing each other. You don't want that. So it's always best to protect yourself and just be, but again, the greatest policy that I feel in order to maintain, just friendships, especially for schoolmates and you guys that are going through this too, I'm learning these lessons, and they're always new, and sometimes I feel, I've experienced it, I'm not going to make that mistake again, and sometimes you do, and you don't even realize how it even happened or how it slipped past you. I think just be open, listen to any sort of whispers that you may feel, go with your gut as much as you can. Sometimes your gut's telling you, hey, this is gonna be fine, and you keep following that, and then it throws you off, and that can happen too. So be honest, be truthful, be forthcoming, and if you make a commitment to someone too, and you tell them you're gonna do something, or you have an understanding or that agreement, you got to make sure that you follow through with that. I've been involved with people in the past situations where, hey, again, it comes down to, we're going to work together because you're going to do this, right? Yeah, I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden they're not doing that. And you start going, oh, man, how do I even tell you? Come on, man, this is what you said you were going to do and you're not doing it. And I don't understand. makes things difficult. So get the things down in writing. That more and more I'm learning that lesson all the time, and I want to pass on my lessons that I can to you. You're going to be facing them in your own way. But yeah, put things down, especially, and again, it keeps kicking in my mind, just people in the students in the schools when they're collaborating, working on these projects together, is that's where a lot of I see these in class fighting and stuff going on. Is yeah, write it down. Okay, you guys are now in a group. What's your responsibility? Okay, your responsibility. You're responsible for doing this. Get everything up front, and I might just say, and this ties in beautifully to dealing with contracts and working with any clients that you're going to be working with in the future. Just have everything written down. Let people know what your revision policy is. You know, mine is I got a 2 revision policy. If after 2 revisions, you're going to be paying extra on any revisions after that, because otherwise you go through revision hell, where you're working over and over and over again, and they keep changing it because there's no policy, there's nothing laid out. So make sure even when you're working with someone, know exactly what they want, get everything in writing. Know where you stand. They know where they stand. If they agree to it, great. If you agree to it, great. Then you can move on forward, and there's no back and forth like, hey, but you said this and you said this, and you're not dealing with any of that madness. So that's the real lesson maybe in this art talk, is to really know that. Okay, so that's it for today's art talk. Thanks so much for watching. My next semester starts October 19th into December, finishes right before the holidays there. And I may be still in my location where I'm at now, or I may be in my new location. So just crossing the fingers. I'm real excited about this, and I hope you'll join me still and be a part of it. It's just, you know, exciting times. I think it's always exciting when you're creating and developing and starting new things, and that's what everyone should be doing. That's the essence of it all. Just keep creating, keep envisioning, keep making your, you know, ideas become realities, and pursue those things.
Alright, there you go.
It's a big giant lug. And he, like, don't bite, dude. What are you doing? Don't bite. If you're gonna be on here, just don't bite nothing. Ow! No. Don't. Danger. Ah. Once in a blue moon, you can see.
Look at his tail.
Oh. You big lord. Okay. Oh.
Okay.